Hey guys, before the video, just wanted to wish you a very happy holidays from me and Charlie. He is all in his cold weather gear, but you can see he's growing up. He's a little chubby boy. He's a little chubby boy. Say hi, Charlie. He just woke up, but just wanted to show him to you guys. As you can see, he's grown a lot since the last time that I shared him with you guys. So just from the CWA fam, want to wish all of you guys a very happy holidays, no matter what you celebrate, and thank you for your support all year round. As I always say, it does mean the world to me. So guys, go ahead and enjoy the video.
24th on Hollis Ave at the dark. When I seen a man chilling with his dog at the park.
Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Clash Royale. Today we're going to go over the top 4 hog decks according to win rates on statsroyale.com. Starting out with a really annoying version. I hate going against this deck. I don't play it myself because I'm just not a mortar user, and I refuse to go against how I was raised in Clash Royale. But seriously, this is the #1 win percentage deck right now, especially on ladder. Win rates really high for ladder, so it's an incredibly effective deck. Today I brought on Electrify, known as one of the best hog players in the game, to help here kind of illustrate how effective these decks can be. So we'll be sharing one replay on each of the top 4 decks, again according to win rates on statsroyale.com. So we're inside the first replay here using this devastating kind of baity whoa, Freudian slip there, Ash. Hog Mortar deck here, and you can see going against the Royal Ghost, the strongest card in the game, in the opinion of yours truly, just how much value you can get from Royal Ghost. However, no problem for Electrify. You guys know that he's a pro, and he's going to go ahead and lean this replay on the Mortar defensively. So that's the first thing we should point out about this deck, right, is that you have the 2 win conditions. You have the Hog and the Mortar. It's up to you guys to decide what the best win condition is going to be given the deck that your opponent has. So really, that's the first thing you should identify using this deck. Am I going against a beatdown deck? If so, you're going to be using the Mortar defensively. When your opponent has all these structures like Florent, you want to make sure that you're very careful to use the Mortar as almost a defensive unit, and what it's going to do is kill those support troops behind your opponent's tank, and then you're going to be relying on this deck as if it was just a normal hog deck after that. Now, against some matchups, let's say your opponent has like Tornado and a bunch of other annoying counters, Mini P.E.K.K.A, whatever, or E-Wiz to the Hog. Well, then you can use this deck like a Mortar deck and use the Hog just to keep your opponent on their toes, bait out their best defenses, or whatever it might call for. It's not to say that you can't use the Hog or the Mortar as a win conditions in both ways. It's just to say that in most matches, you're going to be selecting what you think is the better win condition, and then really trying to lean heavily on that throughout the match. This deck, again, super annoying, and it does have some bait element to it as well. With Goblin Gang, you can swap in guards for Goblin Gang if you want to at tournament level standard. I think I might prefer that version. However, there is a give and a take to that. Although I think that guards are stronger right now in the meta, I do think that you run into a danger swapping out the Goblin Gang, because the gang is just such a bait potential for your opponent's arrows or log. Guards a little bit too, but you do have, or zap, right? So zap and arrows especially, because you have the bats and you have the minion horde as well on that deck. So you want to make sure that you do bait out your opponent's spells, small spells, that way you can try to punish with one of those swarm units, ideally the minion horde. Okay, moving into the next deck played again by Electrify. Gotta give a shout out to Electrify here. He's been coming on the channel for almost 2 years now. One of my first guests on the channel was Electrify, way before he was a legitimate pro or had a YouTube channel of his own. You can check out his YouTube channel, by the way, in the description below. Anyway, here we go, off to the races here against another hog deck, the Hog Mega Knight deck. Oh man, this deck is still everywhere right now, and I do want to take a quick shout out to my sponsor of the day. I can't pronounce his name, but man, I love you. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, and really do appreciate that. Now, I appreciate all my sponsors. Now we have 26 sponsors according to the master list here, so I really appreciate each and every one of you guys. Okay, back to the Hog Mega Knight deck. Oh my gosh, this deck is so annoying and it's still so popular and everywhere, but Electrify has no problems with this deck. You can see that Electrify's playing this 3 Musketeer Hog Rider deck that I first saw played by, oh gosh, I saw it played by One Hive Hunter like a year and a half ago, this same deck, and then I saw it repopularized by Legend from Southeast Asia, from Vietnam. So it's definitely super strong right now in the current meta. Good defense here by Electrify, using the bats up close to the bridge, and then using the Goblin Glaive close to the tower, knowing that his opponent was going to have to choose on that zap spell. So Electrify chooses to pump up again, and you can see he has not played his 3 Musketeers, despite baiting out the opponent's big spell, in this case, the poison. So what does that mean for us? What's the takeaway there? The takeaway is Electrify's definitely using this deck more as a hog deck in the first 2 minutes. Then, when you get into double elixir time, you'll see he'll start cycling the 3 Musketeers more often. But he hasn't played the 3 Musketeers. He's not going to play the 3 Musketeers, you know, pretty much at all in the beginning unless he has the opportunity. Did he play them once? He might have played them once. Either way, he's leaning mostly on the hog. Even when you bait out your opponent's spell, you're going to rush to that next pump or send in the Hog Rider rather than a traditional 3 Musketeer deck necessarily, always going right for the immediate punish with a 3 Musketeers. If you're interested in new meta 3 Musketeer decks, I must go ahead and tell you guys to watch my previous video. Really cool Prince, Skeleton Barrel, and Royal Ghost deck using 3 Musketeers. I think that might be the future of the meta here. Very dexterous defense by Electrify, pulling that Mega Knight all around the towers, avoiding any collisions with the Princess Towers. Now with only 15 seconds or so left, Electrify is going to opt for the defensive Elixir Pump. Reminds me of the good old days when people used to actually think that was a good idea, putting the Elixir Pump there. I don't know if any of you have been around that long. I'm sure some of my OG subs have. Anyway, you can see 1 second left. That's going to be all she wrote on this match. Another really, really good deck. By the way, guys, my favorite of all these decks is going to be the last deck. So I hope you didn't tune out. And about 7 minutes in, I hope you didn't tune out, because I tell you what, my favorite, especially for trophies, my favorite trophy pushing ladder deck is going to be the last one we share, with one alteration that I'll talk about after we talk about the Hog Cycle deck. So this is like the new version of Hog Cycle. Really only 2 cards have changed, and it's the guards in for what used to be goblins, and it's the we have the knight in as well, and Tornado for cannon. So I guess maybe 3 cards from the real OG traditional version. But either way, it's a 3.0 cost deck, so it's not as cheap as some of the older decks with, you know, archers, skeletons, and ice spirit around 2.8 cycle decks. But this deck really cycles fast. Remember, your deck always cycles basically as fast as the 3 least expensive cards in it. So this is going to be a really fast deck, and you can always get to your hog more often than not. You can get to your hog before your opponent can get to their best counter, and you can see Electrify already punishing here. He's going up against this 3 Musketeer. Hey, it's the deck that we covered yesterday. So, you know, no offense to Michael, but still give the deck a try. Don't hold it against him that he lost to the Hog Pro himself, Electrify here. So we're gonna go ahead and get a push going in the. We're probably gonna let that push die. Obviously, the knight is at like 1 HP. No need to go super aggressive. You'll notice that good players they don't push the envelope if there's no need to. Here comes the Hog Rider, and the opponent, look, it has no good counter right now, forced to send in the miner. So that was a really smart move by Electrify, opting to wait on that elixir pump. He's not going to punish, let that knight go, wait till the opponent drops the elixir pump, and then send in the Hog Rider push, rather than sending in the hog right away, giving his opponent enough time to cycle and get to a good counter. So now, here comes the 3 Musketeers. Let's see how Electrify handles this defensively. He puts 1 Musketeer in the lane of the 1 Musketeer. The Prince is going to be, no, there's no Prince coming. It's just all out in the left lane. He uses Zap, he uses Guards, he uses Ice Spirit coming in just a second here, and it looks like that's all he needs. Incredible to stop that push. It was a big push in the left lane. So now, things with only 45 seconds again here, he uses the Hog as a defensive distraction. The Hog does not get to the tower, however, it buys him time time to cycle and defend there and get back to the guards for that charging prince. Only 30 seconds here, so all he needs to do is stop this push, but guess what? We have Tornado and Fireball. That shuts down pretty much every 3 Musketeer deck. Guards don't get to that right tower, but all we really need is a Fireball and a Zap to finish this one off, guys. So here we go. Good job not using Zap in this situation, taking advantage of the Knight's really fast swing rate, and he has Zap for these bats if he wants to. He does. He opts to go ahead and zap those bats, cycling again to the guards. Now notice, we're not just cycling to the hog here, guys. We're also cycling to our best counter, the guards. So you can cycle both on defensive and offensively. Sometimes just playing cards to keep your cycle alive, make sure you have that good counter in hand, is really, really important and often overlooked by players. So here we go, guys. This is my favorite deck right now in the meta being played by Electrify. I tell you what, you guys know that I'm primarily a 3 Musketeer player. This deck right now by Electrify, to me, it's just a notch above 3 Musketeers in terms of what I'm comfortable with, what I enjoy playing. And I just pushed to 50, almost 5,300 using it right now. I think I'm like 5276 or something like that right now on ladder. So I love this deck. It's really, really good, guys. And I said there was a change in the deck. I lied. There is no change in the deck. I just screwed up my battle deck, which I will fix before I edit and upload. So anyway, it's the Executioner Tornado is just so strong right now defensively, and you know, I think you know, when Executioner was first introduced to the game, I was just thinking about that glitch where he just threw the axe forever. That was pretty funny. But anyway, when he was first introduced to the game, he was super strong. He was nerfed once or twice, I think, and then the meta kind of changed, and we were kind of forgotten about for a large period of time there. However, I do think that with all the swarm units going around right now and the power of Tornado, which really should have been nerfed. I hate to say that, but it should have been nerfed. Tornado is insane right now. So the synergy between Executioner and Tornado, in my opinion, has really never been better, guys. So here comes the Hog Rider right into that Expo. Generally, Hog Rider does pretty well against siege decks, but this deck can still be difficult to go against. The opponent does have the Rocket as well, so we want to make sure we're very careful with the placement of the Executioner. You should really never, with this deck, never start out a match by playing the Executioner behind the King Tower until you're absolutely sure your opponent doesn't have Rocket or Lightning. If they have Fireball, you can still, in my opinion, you can still drop them behind the King Tower, because Fireball only takes out about half the Executioner's HP, leaving him actually pretty robust for the rest of your offensive push. He can survive a Fireball and a Zap or a Fireball and a Log just fine. So if your opponent does have Fireball and they want to use it on the Executioner behind your King Tower, well, I would just go super strong on the push after that, because you'd have a pretty decent elixir advantage, you know, after you take into account the 4-for-5 change on your part. So here we go, guys. This ought to be the final 30 seconds here. All we really need to do is make sure that Expo does not lock onto our Princess Tower. However, I do believe that Stiv, the opponent here, is going to get one on the tower before this match ends. So actually pretty good defense by Stiv, but he ends up making one crucial mistake in just a moment here. That was a really, really good Ice Golem, distracting that Executioner, keeping that Ice Wizard alive there, doing some work against that Executioner, and there it is, immediately with the Expo. Now here comes the Hog Rider. Hog Rider onto the Expo. The opponent uses a Log, and the Expo does go down again. Okay, this does go into overtime here. You know what? It would be helpful if I actually remembered what happens in these matches. A really good Ice Golem and Mega Minion there by the opponent, setting up another big Expo push, this time with some support units alive to help it out here. Now he does not get this Hog down. Oh, he does! No, he doesn't! I lied. But look at that Tornado, guys. He pulled the Hog to his tower. It really ended up costing Stiv the match there. I'm not sure if he would have won anyway, but man, that really sucked. He pulled it right into the tower, got a hit off with that Hog Rider, and pretty much, I think that if he didn't do that, he might have been able to cycle to Rocket or get it down really close to Rocket range and finish off that match. However, Electrify is able to get the job done, and that is going to be it, guys. So I hope you enjoyed this top 4 Hog decks. Again, show Electrify some love on YouTube, like, subscribe to all his videos. or subscribe to his videos, like and watch his videos, and subscribe to his channel. Guys, another huge shout out to Bren Chong, my YouTube partner. Check out his information in the description below, and have a very happy and healthy holiday, guys. Love you, and thank you so much for all the support that you give me all year round. It really means the world to me. So, as always, take care, guys.